And just like that, we are in the last part of All Quiet on the Western Front. This video is going to talk about the beginning of chapter 9. At the beginning of chapter 9, just as expected, Paul is going to be going back to the battlefield because there is no way that he is going to stay at home, which no longer feels like home. He wants to be back where he feels comfortable and feels like himself. So at the beginning of chapter 9, he arrives. Step 1, he's got to find out who has survived for the past 6 weeks since he has been gone. Once that happens, there's a little bit of a downtime before they go back to the battlefield. And a little bit of downtime involves the arrival of somebody very important, and that would be the Kaiser. It's spelled K-A-I-S-E-R. I wonder if I could find it here for you real fast. The Kaiser is in charge of Germany, and the Kaiser is showing up today to help with morale. He is showing up to put some medals on men's uniforms to make them feel good. He's there for spirit. But the arrival of the Kaiser creates an interesting discussion with the guys. And the discussion is, why are we even fighting? Are we fighting because that little guy wanted us to fight? What if he had said no, he doesn't want to go? Would we still then be fighting? Is this the person that we are dying for out here? They have an interesting discussion. What I'm going to ask of you when you go to do writing later on, I'm going to ask of you to respond to Kat's line when Kat says, there must be some people to whom the war is useful. That's going to be an interesting thought. Kat does give his opinion later on. I tend to agree with his opinion, but an opinion is an opinion, which means you may have a different one, and I would like for you to explain that. Past that point, Paul is going to see something that is really disturbing, and it would be the effect of a trench mortar on a human body. When he sees that, an unexpected individual is going to catch the fact that it rocks Paul to his core. Another guy does a pretty good job of calming him down, and you can probably guess who. But again, it's unexpected, I think. It's right here. Instead of going to Russia, we go up to the line again. On the way, we pass through a devastated wood with tree trunks shattered and the ground plowed up. So we're going to look at that. Paul is very sensitive right now, and he's very sensitive because he just came off of 6 weeks being away. He's no longer used to the battlefield. He's no longer used to the sights of gore around him, and he has a lot of other stuff floating around in his head after being at home for so long. So the second thing I'm going to ask for you to do today as far as writing goes is to make a list of what makes Paul so pitiful right now. If we were in the classroom together, I would have had you write, poor pitiful Paul, because it's very alliterative, but it's very true right now. He is very much dealing with a lot of information and a lot of emotional baggage that's going to cause his post-traumatic stress disorder to be greater, to be deepened. When he gets here, a patrol has to be sent out to discover just how strongly the enemy position is manned. Since my leave, I feel a certain strange attachment to the other fellows, and so I volunteer to go with them. So Paul is going to make the decision to go out into no man's land at night in a place that he is unfamiliar with, completely by himself. It's not a good decision, but he's going to make it, and he's going to make it because of all the stuff that's floating around. If you remember from chapter 6, we talked about the importance of instinct and the fact that a soldier relies on instinct. Well, emotion gets in the way of instinct, and Paul has got a lot of stuff going on. I would like for you today to read through on this online PDF version through page 103 and see the effect of his leave, see how that bothers him, see what happens when he goes out into no man's land. Keep in mind, bombardment means heavy artillery. If they use the word attack, it means people. It's an unpleasant scene. So I would like for you to read through 103. Tomorrow together we will pick up and I will cover from 103 to the end, which again is one of the more pivotal moments for Paul's psyche, an experience that he goes through and a name that he should never know. We'll talk about that together. But I would like for you to read through, they are raked with fire, the attack is repulsed. This will cover the beginning of chapter 9. Again, you were looking at two different things. You were looking at Paul's PTSD being intensified, and you were also looking at a discussion of why are we here in the first place when the Kaiser shows up. All right, if you have any questions, reach out to me, but this is the beginning of chapter 9, and we are racing toward the end of this novel.